Yes, 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 my brethren, yes. Moving right along with the old highly caffeinated Coke here and sugar inducing into my veins. It's got my mouth running a mile a minute, so why not just talk to the camera? Yeah, that's right. Moving right along for the third installment of the unforeseen little series of VHS nostalgia revival updates here. I picked up a dirt cheap. This one was a quarter, and it was in a big old box of junk that I found in this dude's table at the local flea market. Sadly enough, it does not have the original cover art for the VHS. In fact, it's in one of these cheap ex-rental clamshell clear cases, but it's a media home entertainment version of George Romero's Knight Riders. That's right, the wacky little movie with Ed Harris where they put on medieval shows on motorcycles. And Tom Savini stars in it, and Ken Foree, and a lot of the regular George Romero actors are in it that showed up in other films like Dawn of the Dead and Creepshow and places like that. But Knight Riders for a quarter on VHS. I don't have it on DVD up here. It's not one of my favorite Romero films, but I have watched it before on cable, I believe it was. So I picked it up. I thought I'd go down nostalgia road one day and watch it for just viewing pleasure. Cheap viewing pleasure there. Here we go. Here's an Embassy Home Entertainment, Avco Embassy Home Entertainment original tape version of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a horror classic. It's not one of my favorite horror films, as though it might be some people's most favorite out there. In my opinion, it's not the best, but it's just one of those. It came from that era, and you probably just have to watch it for prerequisite watching if you're going to be a horror buff. It's Final Exam. I just remember the cover art being in the video store growing up, and this one was another cheapo purchase. I think it was 50 cents, and it came with a little plastic sheath on it to protect it too. And so I think this might have been a mom and pop video store guy that I guess went out of business in the local area, and he started just offloading all his VHS at the local flea market. So that's where why I think I had such good luck finding some of these hard to find ones like this. But I do know it is available on DVD. I'm not sure if it's out of print, but if Final Exam's your thing, jump on it. I probably wouldn't go right out looking for a VHS. I got it for nostalgia purposes. Plus, I haven't revisited this one since I was a kid, so I thought I'd go back and watch it whenever I had a chance. Ooh, here's a good one, guys. This one I watched originally on RCA CED flipper disc. If you don't know what that is, go look at my video called Format Wars, and it'll tell you all about the different formats that came before, like Betamax and VHS, or during that time frame. This is a VHS, an original VHS copy with the same cover art and everything of The Final Terror. Yes, this one does have Joe Pantoliano in it, Adrian Zmed, Daryl Hannah. A lot of people that started showing up in later 80s fare, later 80s comedies, 80s movies of all different types. This was a little known and little liked slasher movie of that era, and you know that. See, it's a Vestron video, just real plain looking, The Final Terror. I picked this one up. I paid an extra buck for this one. It was $2, but it is very, very hard to find. And to my knowledge, it's not been released on DVD but one time. I think it's been released a few years back on DVD. I'm not sure if it was Anchor Bay or one of those, but it's definitely out of print, and I can't ever find, Netflix never has it, so I picked this one up because this is kind of a little piece of my history. I actually like The Final Terror. It's not the best slasher, I'll go ahead and tell you that, but it's kind of in that category of little known slasher films. You can't really put it up against Friday the 13th and all those kind of films. But you can put it probably in the same category as Just Before Dawn, Don't Go in the Woods Alone, movies of that caliber, or Madman, where it was a great slasher movie, great little slasher movies, but they didn't carry on a franchise afterwards, and The Prowler, movies like that. But The Final Terror is right in there with it. It's got the Kids in the Woods theme to it, and it's got a killer out in the woods, some kind of backwoods. I'm not going to ruin it if you've never seen it, but you owe it to yourself to at least view The Final Terror. And since it's so hard to find, I went ahead and picked it up, and plus it's a little trip down memory lane for me. It's definitely going to go in the little VHS of yesteryear's shelf whenever I get it together, and I'll show that off in a little update video maybe one day. Pardon me here, guys. Getting a little more Coca-Cola in me there. Here is one that's definitely an original VHS release from Avco Embassy. This is what's going to be really funny about this one. Look at the original suggested retail price up here. If you can see it, I'm not sure. My camera's been not very clear. It says $59.95 US. That's right. That's what this movie used. That's what VHSs used to cost whenever they were first released in the early '80s. Believe it or not, that's how much they costed. And the local mom and pop video stores would purchase these, and they'd have to make their money back on the rentals. And if you want, it's before they started selling them to the general public too. So we're talking like 1981, 82 era. This was before the mainstream, before VCRs started showing up in everybody's homes. So if you wanted to buy your own and you were like an entrepreneur and you had to have it right, or had to have it right then and there, you'd have to pay the same price as the video store. $59.95 for this tape. I just can't believe someone actually somewhere paid that money for this. I paid $1. Slumber Party Massacre. It's a classic horror film everybody knows about. It's not the best one in my book, but it's another one of those that actually went on and had sequels. This is from 1982. It's 77 minutes, so it's not a real long one. But basically, it's the one that sprouted the Driller Killer movies. It's just one of those you have to have. I've never been able to find this one locally on DVD. I'm sure I could probably order this one. I think it's out on DVD, and it's not really too hard to find. But found this one for, I think it was $1. It was $1, so I went ahead and got it, and just thought I'd go down the little memory lane with it a little bit and put it on the little shelf of collectibles. And who knows, if you ever run into anybody that was in the production team with this or acted in it, by chance, you can get them to sign it for collectible memorabilia. You never know. Guys, I bring you to the crown jewel of this VHS update excursion. This is a movie that is so hard to find either on VHS, not to even speak of DVD, because it has never been released on DVD, and I can't figure out why. With all the crap that's coming out on DVD, why this one hasn't been put out yet. It is, of course, I don't know if I'd call it as classic, but it's definitely a horror movie that everybody knows about, and it's one of those holy grail salt movies. It is, of course, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Got this, guys, for 50 cents. I'm not bragging, but I am bragging a little bit because I have waited for years, I mean decades even, you could say, to get this doggone movie in my collection, whether it was on VHS, DVD, or whatever format. I just wanted to have it in my collection. It's a horror movie based on supposed true life events that happened down in, I believe it was Texarkana, Texas. Guys, not the best horror movie ever, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's ultimately very, very hard to find. If you can find this one, don't put the flea markets out, guys. If you can comb the flea markets, you can find little hard to find things like this for probably next to no money at all. And there again, 50 cents, a very hard to find purchase. I'll keep it until a better format comes along, and I might just even keep it then. I don't know, because this is one of those that it's sort of like like Madman. If you can find it, you better get it. If you can find it cheap, you better get it on VHS or at least a DVD or whatever you can find it on. So anyway, I've grown enough. Town That Dreaded Sundown. There it is. All right, guys. That's been it for the VHS Nostalgia Revival. I will catch you next time for poster updates and movie reviews. More to come. Take care, guys. Bye.